Today I wanted to do something a little bit different, and it's not that different. I wanted to tell a story, but I didn't want to tell my own story, and that makes no fucking sense, so let me explain. I am addicted to scary stories and scary movies and scary shit, and I know that you guys enjoy the paranormal stories that I tell, so I decided that I wanted to do something a little bit different. I was looking through creepypasta and I was talking to my sister, and she suggested that I look through, I want to say it's called No Sleep. It's on Reddit. We found a couple stories that we thought were really interesting, so I want to read one to you guys right now. I know Loie Lane does videos exactly like this where she reads stories off of creepypasta, so that is kind of an inspiration for this video, but I thought that you guys would really enjoy it, so we're gonna tell a story. So let me pull it up on my phone. One of the stories that me and my sister found is called Someone Keeps Playing Hide and Seek in My House But I Live Alone. I'm gonna put the link to the story below so you guys can either read along with me or you can go back and you can read it later if you'd like, but I'll put that below. This shit is okay. I'm warning you now, if you get scared really easily, I wouldn't suggest watching this video. All I'm gonna do is I'm going to read off the story to you guys and then we can talk about it like a therapy session. Alright? I don't want this intro to be 45 minutes long, so let's just get right into the story because that's what you're here for. So before I begin to tell you what has been happening, I need to fill you in on a little background info. When I was young, me and my friends used to love scaring each other with scary stories at sleepovers. One story in particular creeped me the hell out. Now usually we put our own twist into it, with a serial killer, a monster, or a ghost, whatever is the killer. Either way, it always managed to keep me up at night after hearing it. I even remember one time when I was fairly young, my best friend at the time, Dan, and I were having a sleepover. After retelling the same story, Dan decided to scare the shit out of me. He packed his sleeping bag with pillows and blankets to make it look like he was still fast asleep. He then woke up by saying, "John, I'm upstairs." He then proceeded to walk down the stairs one by one and say, "John, I'm on the 3rd step." And so on until he got to the bottom, when I eventually found out it was him by smacking his sleeping bag, foiling his plan. Okay, so now this brings me to a few nights ago. I'm currently living alone in a very small house, and as I was sleeping, I woke up to the sound of a man moaning. Now this isn't the stupid moan a ghost would do in a cartoon movie. It wasn't a scream, and it wasn't really loud. It started quiet and got louder. Safe to say, it woke me up. But seeing as I was dreaming beforehand, I was not sure if I had imagined it or not. Either way, I got up and searched my house for a little bit. I'm kind of the paranoid type. Nothing. No one was there. I must have imagined it. The next night, right before drifting off to sleep, I heard the same sound of shuffling coming from my basement. The stairs to my basement are really close to my bedroom, so if I turned left outside my room, I could walk downstairs. Then I heard it, clear as day. My heart dropped. Who the fuck was in my house? I figured someone was robbing the place and had no idea what I should do. Then I heard, "John, I'm in the basement." Who the hell is this? And why were they in my house? Then the voice whispered, "John, I'm on the 1st step." The voice sounded really bizarre. It was a whisper, but the sound almost cut in and out like it was a recording. The voice sounded like it was constantly out of breath. That was enough for me. I sprang out of bed, grabbed a trophy, the only thing heavy enough and long enough to be a weapon in my room, and I ran to the top of the stairs. The lights were off so I could only see the top 5 stairs or so. "Who the fuck are you? What are you doing in my house?" I yelled. I got no reply. I turned on the basement light and ran downstairs, ready to beat the shit out of someone. The bastard was hiding. I couldn't see him. I frantically checked all of the possible hiding spots, but no one was there. Eventually, I got up the nerve to go upstairs and check any of the rooms. When I got to the top of the stairs, I saw that the front door was wide open. Whoever it was probably ran out. I was still terrified, but kind of relieved. Still, I checked every room and made sure the doors were all locked. No sleep for me that night. The next goddamn night, the shit happened again. I woke up to the sound of movement coming from downstairs, and before I could do anything, I heard, "John, I'm on the 3rd step." I quickly jumped out of bed and grabbed that trophy. Turned on the basement light, but before I went downstairs, I noticed something. My front door, back door, and garage were all wide open. What the hell is happening? I thought. Then I heard coming from the basement again the very soft whisper of, "John, I'm on the 4th step." I ran down there screaming profanity and was ready to really hurt whoever it was, then became more frightened than I've ever been in my life. Again, absolutely nobody was in my basement. I closed all of the doors, made sure they were all locked, even though I was pretty sure they were before, and checked the rest of the house. I phoned the police and they told me they would send a car to look around, but if there was no one in the house or any damage to the house to investigate, it would be pointless to come check it out. They told me to call again if it happens. I felt insane. The stupid scary story was constantly on my mind. That's when I thought of Dan playing his dumb trick on me as a kid. And you may be thinking, of course it's Dan playing another trick. Dan has been dead for 10 years. He overdosed on drugs years ago. I stopped being friends with him when he got into that lifestyle, but I was still shaken up when he died. I'd like to say I went and bought a hotel room and stayed there, but stupid me, I didn't. I decided to stay at home and push my luck, and you guessed it, the next night was worse. This was last night, and I tried to sleep but I couldn't. So I was lying in bed waiting for something to happen, then it finally did. "Hey," came the forced whisper from the basement. I couldn't move, all I did was stare at my wall and hope to God the sound stopped. "John, I'm at the top of the stairs." I waited for about a minute in silence, then the voice came again, closer this time. "John, I'm outside your bedroom." I stared at the wall and hoped I was just going insane. Nothing was there. Nothing was there. I heard the door creak open. I couldn't make myself look. I was in shock. Then the voice said weirdly calm, "John, I see you. It sounded like it was right beside my bed. At that point I had enough. I screamed and launched myself from the bed. What the fuck? Nobody was in my room. The door was still completely shut. That's it, I thought. I'm out of here. I ran out of the house with just one set of clothes, not failing to notice that all the doors were wide open and now the cabinets in the kitchen were open too. Skip ahead to earlier today. Now I didn't really believe in this stuff, but after what I had experienced I sure as hell do now. But I hired a psychic lady, whatever you call them, who had a Ouija board. We went to my house in that early morning, seeing as this shit only seemed to happen at night. I wanted her to get rid of whatever the ghost was that was doing this to me. I couldn't get the idea of Dan's ghost tormenting me from the grave because I let him go off on a path that led him to his death. The lady, Tania was her name, was just a normal looking chick. All she brought was a few candles and that Ouija board. We went down to the basement. It still freaked me the hell out. She told me to turn off the lights. I did, and we set up candles around the board. She did some weird stuff and began to talk to the spirit. She asked it things like, is someone here, and what do you want? I was skeptical to believe it, but I felt the handle thing move, and I sure wasn't doing it. The thing answered back, yes, and John. At this point, I feel like my life is over. I tell her about my old friend Dan and how I think it might be him, because very few people know the scary story we used to tell. She asked the spirit if it's mad at me and if I can do something to help it, and there was no answer. This is the part that really freaks me out. She then asked the entity if it was really my friend Dan. The reply was a shockingly fast movement of the handle to the no indicator. Tania then asked the thing, who are you then? And it simply replied, hate. Tania then said she has to go, and she was sorry that she couldn't help me. I immediately left the house, and I'm now writing this. I am most certainly not going back tonight. I posted this here in the hopes that somebody knows what I should do. I'll repost here if anything else happens. Update. Thank you for all of your help. From what is said, I am sure as hell not going back into my house. However, I said I would update if more happens, and more happened. So I bought a hotel room for the night, and I was feeling pretty pleased with myself. I was still terrified, don't get me wrong. I spent most of the night researching supernatural shit like this. Yet I still have no idea what's happening or what I should do. So the hotel I'm staying at is not a 5-star resort. The rooms are simple, and the layout of the place is very basic and very old. The worst part is, I got a room on the 6th floor, and the stupid elevator was broken. Luckily, I had no luggage to carry up, but it was still a pain in the ass to walk up and down the stairs a bunch of times. So here's what happened. It was late, like really late. I was already pretty on the edge from what happened to me, and from researching demons, ghosts, gremlins, whatever the hell popped up on my screen. I went to go get something to eat from the vending machine on the 3rd floor. I took the stairs. I bought a whole bunch of junk food and went back into the stairwell. It wasn't particularly dark, but it was pretty creepy. The walls were all painted white and scratched up. It was an old building. I had the weirdest feeling come over me, and that's when I heard it. John, I'm down here. The same fucking voice from before. It sounded fairly far away, but I could tell it was coming from down the stairwell. It sounded so calm, yet the voice sounded so raspy and out of breath. For a second, I stood there not knowing what to do, expecting this bloody, demon-bodied monster to poke his head around the corner and chase me up the stairwell. I snapped out of it, and I started running up the stairs, almost tripping as I went up. When I got in between the 4th and 5th floor, I heard it again. I froze. The voice was coming from up the stairs. Where was this thing? It then said to me, from maybe one set of stairs up, John, I'll be in your room. So not a chance in hell I was going back up there. I ran down to the 4th floor exit, still expecting to see some creature crawling up the stairs at me. It wasn't there, but as I left the stairwell, I heard it say, John, I'll see you soon. I spent hours just waiting in that 4th floor hallway, freaking out that whatever it was would come charging down. Eventually a maid came by, starting her morning duties fairly early. I pretended I was an early riser and walked with her down the staircase when she had to go back down. I checked out of the hotel and convinced one of my work friends to let me stay at his place. Almost all of my friends don't live in the city. I'm okay right now, and I managed to take a long power nap, but I can't get the voices out of my head. John, I'll see you soon. And that is the first part of the story. There's a second part, but it's pretty long, so I just want to leave it at the first part for now. Let me know if this is something that you guys enjoy. I know that you guys do enjoy the paranormal stories, so I don't know if this is something that you'd like as well. I am addicted to these stories, and I'll put the link to the story down below so you guys can go back and you can look at it. And if you don't want me to do another video, then you have a way to read the second and whatever part. I'm not sure how many parts there are. I know there's a second part though. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! So I wanted to do a different kind of story. Alright, why die? Alright, Dad, just interrupt me in my story. Hello?
Ride your cars.
My car's here, motherfuckers. If you guys didn't know, I got into a car accident and my new car is here. My car was towed, by the way. But I'll tell you later. Also, Jesus fucking Christ, Courtney, let's just forget about that. Thank you so much for 15,000 subscribers. I'm actually in shock. Why are you subscribed to me? And I have to poop.